Salutations. How are you guys? Ninjani, Niapila, guys. On my side, no, there's nothing much to complain about, guys. On my side, I'm doing quite well. I'm fine, thanks, guys. Guys, I want us today to visit a very interesting issue, a very interesting topic, but it's a very important one about education. You know, education can be in a form of in a classroom or outside the classroom. You know, I want us to discuss that today, just to dissect it and deal with the education, especially is it education ideologically neutral? Is it really neutral? Okay. But before we get to it, guys, I just want to thank you guys for continuing to view the videos, for continuing subscribing to the channel. Those who have subscribed to the channel, thank you very much, guys. Those who have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. At the bottom of the video, there's a subscribe option. Please click on it to subscribe. So each time I release a video, then you get to be notified about the video, so you're able to engage. So let me hear about your views on certain matters, guys. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, guys, let's jump into it. Is education ideologically neutral? That's a very good question, guys. Okay, let's explore it further, guys. There is a liberal rationality idea which has infiltrated the minds of Africans. The idea that education is ideologically neutral. We have surrendered the minds of our children to the system. The same system which is responsible for the oppression and marginalizations of Africans. That's one of the biggest tragedies, that we as Africans, we have taken our children and surrendered them and their minds to this very same system. Unfortunately, we are the only race which holds this idea. Other races who, by the way, happen to be dominating us have understood the importance of education in propelling yourselves as a race and in subjugating other races. You see. Now we get to understand that education does not play any innocent role here. Education is one of those weapons, those apparatus that we call ideological apparatus, that are utilized to maintain the status quo and to oppress other races. This will go a long way in explaining how come a race, which is us Africans, which civilized the world. Yes, Africa is the mother of civilization, contrary to the hogwash and distortions we have been fed. Today finds itself at the bottom of the human pyramid. This explains why today we as Africans, we find ourselves at the bottom of the human pyramid. The dominant races understand the importance of what we call ideological apparatus, being education, media, and religion, which is why they have invested heavily in the development of this ideological apparatus. It is only Africans who are prisoners of this fallacious idea that education is ideologically neutral. The colonial criminality entity named South Africa has been under a democratic dispensation since 1994, with the African majority at the head of the state, being the executive, legislature, and the judiciary. However, the African National Congress government has dismally failed to transform the education system in terms of form, content, and substance. If the NC government was genuine about reversing the legacy of colonialism and apartheid on the minds of Africans, it would have introduced an education system which is informed by an Afrocentric world outlook. If indeed the ANC was serious about reversing the legacy of colonialism and apartheid, it would have introduced books such as The Stolen Legacy and the Destruction of Black Civilization. Our children will be studying great African scholars such as Cheikh Anta Diop, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, just to name a few. But today, if you have to ask our African children, do they know who's Ngugi wa Thiong'o? Do they know who's Cheikh Anta Diop? They don't know. Not just our children, but most of us Africans. They don't know. That's the biggest tragedy. It is the great Stephen Bantu Biko who once said, the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The point Biko is illuminating here is that the oppressors understood that war and violence cannot be sustained in the long run. Hence the importance of the ideological apparatus to make the oppressed accept their position in the pyramid of humanity. A people who have accepted their fate as lesser human beings cannot wage any struggle against the oppression, because they would have accepted their fate as preordained by God. This is the potency of education, which is one of the ideological apparatus. As Africans, we go on shipping our children to the so-called multiracial schools, therefore handing over their precious minds to be poisoned by the white system, which is anti-black. That is why as African parents, will have no shame that our children speak English more than their own African languages. Now tell me, which race respects itself would be so proud that their children can speak English well, but cannot speak their native indigenous languages? Embarrassment. This should not be misunderstood as criticism against those Africans who work so hard so their children can get the best education. But what I'm attempting here is to light a spark which will compel us to redefine what is education and how it ought to contribute in the development of our society. What we are doing as Africans can be equated to us sending our children to Caesar and being surprised when they come back as Romans. Simple as that. As Africans, we owe ourselves and the future generations a serious discussions on what value system better define us, and use education as one of the vehicles to restore Africa to its former glory and at the peak of human pyramid. Alright guys, I do not claim to have any monopoly of ideas on this subject. I would like to hear your comments, your views and contributions on the comment section, guys. But really now we need to understand that education is not ideologically neutral. So for the key role to play in ensuring that we shape the minds and the future of our society, we cannot keep on handing over the minds of our children to the very same system that is oppressing the black race, that's oppressing us as Africans. We just cannot continue in that fashion. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please do subscribe to the channel. Please do share the video. If you're using Twitter, please do share it on Twitter. If you're using WhatsApp, please share it on WhatsApp or Facebook so we grow the audience, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Lesedi. Makukhanye.